We are live.
Oh, we're live now.
We are.
The funny thing, I'm watching on here, it's delayed. Peace to the saints. Today's lecture is on how to protect yourself against gold diggers and women who would try to make your money their money. And the challenge for both the male and the female is that some females don't realize that they're gold diggers, or they've grown up in a culture wherein they've been programmed to think that the male is a financial source. And the challenge for males is that some women who are seemingly perfectly good women may become gold diggers once you two are at odds. Today, I will bless you with a few very meaningful strategies and systems that you can deploy to protect yourself and to ensure that you have a good, healthy relationship.
We're going to start with some super chats. We have It's Rayo said, peace to the saints, tuition.
Peace to the saints.
We have Isaiah Jarrett, if you want to go ahead and say it.
Bowler alert.
He said, tuition, catching up on payments. This Steve Jobs book has me noticing traits I lack or hold back because of the negative look of power, wealth, and the desire and belief to seek it. A common message taught us, I think. Black box will be ordered timely when I request home time. Peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints. Yes, there's much wisdom to gain from reading, and the beauty of being able to read the words of a accomplished wise man is that you didn't have to meet him. And in this case, the man is deceased and you still get to benefit from his knowledge. We are in a beautiful era for books. We're not always available to the masses. So let us always capitalize on the advantages that we have.
Okay, we have Junior Lamar said, peace to the saints. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for asking. I
We-
woke up this morning feeling very vigorous and sharp. It's not every day that one wakes up and pops straight out of bed and gets to exercise. So it's a strong foundation today.
Okay, we have Ricardo said, Marquette, yesterday I sent payment through PayPal for the jump rope. Would you be able to tell me if I was on time to get one? Peace to the saints?
That would be a no, actually. I'm glad you notified me of that. I'm going to check on that and issue you a refund now because those sold out. And per usual, I always encourage folks to hop on things very early because some of our specialty products, like the hand wraps or the running belt or the backpack briefcase, those are limited time offerings. So once those are gone, they'll never return again. So the jump ropes are now sold out. The hand wraps are getting close to sold out. So I would recommend that if you want some hand wraps, you would go ahead to, is it thesassin.com, www.thesasn.com, and get your hand wraps because those will not be coming back. Those are the longest hand wraps in the world. And in my opinion, the best. That's why I created them. There was a market need.
And for those that have white, these are different. They're black and they have a different Velcro. We went with a kind of
A wider
wider
Velcro.
Velcro.
Yes.
Yeah.
And black is better for the clean appearance of the hand wraps. You should always hand wash them, by the way.
We have Saeed, he sent tuition. We have CJ Bailey said, peace to the saints,
Peace to
tuition.
the saints.
We have Tommy Bali said, peace to the saints, glad finally catch alive.
Tommy, it's good to see you again, Saint.
We have Adama said, assalamu alaikum, saint.
Alaikum assalam.
I won't be able to catch today's lecture, but I felt the need to say that much of today's society need to study Mr. Rogers' work and learn how to contribute to society positively.
I agree wholeheartedly. Mr. Rogers is perhaps one of the closest things we'll get to a saint on earth.
And for those wanting to look at the products, Samson was nice enough to share the link for you guys.
Shout out to Samson, moderator extraordinaire. So there are really two levels of women. And if you make a note that we do need to go on PayPal and refund the gentleman. There are two levels of female that you have to be cautious about. The first one is the basic gold digger who is fairly blatant in her approach, in that you take her out on date one, she doesn't pay, which is fair enough. And then you go on date two and she doesn't pay the tip. She doesn't go Dutch. She just lets you pay that whole check and just sits there as though she didn't see it. Or another thing they like to do to make it a little less awkward for themselves is when that check comes out, all of a sudden they got to go to the bathroom. And so they'll all get up and go to the bathroom when the check's coming out so that there's not that little bit of awkwardness as to like, oh, will you be chipping in for this one? Those women, I say, are quite blatant. And if you somehow confuse them into being truly interested in only you and not what you can offer them financially or what they can experience being a part of your lifestyle, whether it's nice restaurants, great events, driving in a fancy car, meeting high level people, you see, they're there for all of those benefits, but it's obvious because they don't contribute. You might say, okay, well, I'm much wealthier than her. So, she's not able to pay for all of these fine things. Well, yeah, even if that's the case, a person who has integrity will still contribute something. They'll want to pay the tip, or they'll invite you over to their house and they'll cook you dinner, or they'll make themselves of service so that there's some level of balance in terms of the level of contribution. But if you find that you're paying everything and she thinks for some reason what she brings to the table is just herself, i.e., her vagina, that's her only real value, then this woman is clearly a gold digger, you see. Now, then there's the other higher level, more complex and insidious gold digger, which is the woman who maybe wasn't a gold digger to start, but may have turned into one, which is to say, men have an easy time taking responsibility, which is to say, when a relationship ends, we are comfortable saying, okay, it didn't work out. I take part in being half responsible for the fact that it didn't work out. I'm going to go on about my business, move on to the next thing. Conversely, females having a lot of trouble with taking responsibility, especially if they were not raised by a wise father. When things end, they feel as though it was wholly the man's fault. He's a narcissist. He's dishonest. He's this, he's that. He's all of these bad things, so many bad things that would make you wonder, well, how is it you ever even married this fellow?
Ricardo, I was just doing some research. He asked if we could send the running belt instead of refunding him.
All right.
The running belt's a little bit more, but he's a true supporter, so we will send the running belt. I believe you are in Canada, so you'll owe about $8.25 in shipping on top of what you spent so far.
Understood. So Bridget said that the running belt's a little more expensive. Being that you are loyal, we will not charge you any more expense for the product. To get the product shipped to your international address, it'll be about
$8.25.
25 cents that you would send. So thank you for reminding us of that, because that definitely got by us. Shout out to Cameron, comes through with tuition.
Okay, we have Macindaw said, peace to the saints. Hello, Brother Marquette. I love rewatching the conversation you had with a young brother who thinks like a communist. I love how you roasted him and wishing it was 16-year-old me getting roasted.
Now, the funny thing is, when you're young, you're very obviously ignorant, which is just by definition without knowledge. It's not a negative word. It's just a description of one who is without knowledge. But you're also very optimistic, and you fail to understand human nature when you're young. And that's why most people in their youth, they are liberal. In their maturity, they become more conservative. They have a better sense of human nature and the way the world works. But only one who's done international business truly understands how the world works. And it was a real pity to talk to a young man who has so much potential within him. He could have so much energy and do so much, but with that communist mentality, all he'll really do is want to peel off dollars from people who actually work hard by fleecing them through the instrument of taxes and government.
Okay, we have Saeed. He sent a second super chat. He said, like, subscribe, and spread the ism. Peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints. That's a fine message, because at the end of the day, there are algorithms working against us, because the Google corporation, which hates freedom of speech, has actually limited the ability of this message to get out. So know that anytime we grow, it's because you share the video. It's because you click the like button, you subscribe, you make comments to improve our ability to be found. And those are all things that support myself, the assassin, our message, our philosophy. And it will be wise to do that, because consider this. There was one gentleman who wrote in the last live session, he said, Marquette, I went to go get my haircut and my barber had the black box and I didn't even know he knew about you. And so we connected on that. But then my question for the saint has to be, well, why is it you didn't tell your barber about me, right? Like, why didn't you tell him about the ism? See, that should have been an early conversation. So often we're inclined to pass things on to people that don't benefit them. How many times has someone offered you a shot, pass the blunt to you? But rarely do we pass out knowledge. And that is how society must turn for it to be better. And know that if you're doing business with someone, you should be doing business with those who share your values. Because I can assure you that people who are against you wouldn't spend a dollar with you. So why would you provide them a dollar to strengthen their position?
When talking about doing business with people, we always say we like urgency. Ricardo said he's already sent the shipping fee.
Indeed. Peace of the saints. And that's a mark of a serious man. And I always encourage you all to be serious men.
Okay, we have Shamir said, got fired yesterday, but still paying my respects.
Peace of the saints. Sometimes that is a blessing. I've personally never been fired. I've not had that experience, but I've fired myself from a number of jobs because I realized I was too good for the job. And often when this kind of a situation occurs, it's because you were a fish out of water. You were in the wrong place. One of the saints who has a consultation monthly, I remember when I first met him, he told me about his job. And basically, he wanted to get a promotion at the job, but he didn't like any of his colleagues. And there were a lot of people hating on him in that environment. And that let me know at that point he was in the wrong place. And one thing I can tell you from experience is that you could be a perfectly intelligent, good-natured, hardworking person, but if you're in the wrong job, in the wrong industry, in the wrong environment, you will receive pain and punishment. People will be jealous of you. People won't promote you. People will dislike you because certain industries have certain personalities. For example, one thing I noticed when I was a teacher in the education industry, teachers are very verbose. They're not very logical. And they're also, strangely, they're not very talented and intelligent, ironically. And I didn't get on very well in that industry. Conversely, when I went into business, I noticed people are not verbose. Your superiors will cut you off while you're speaking. They're far more intelligent, far more ambitious and accomplished, and they're paid accordingly. So I found that I was embraced in that environment because if you can think of the answer faster, if you can organize people to get things done, it's rewarded in that environment. So you must go somewhere where your unique skills, talent, and personality is most appreciated.
Okay, we have Darren the Great said, peace to the saints, tuition.
Peace of the saints.
We have McIndoll. He's the one that said the super chat about the communists getting roasted. He said, I say I wish it was me because I used to want handouts like the rest of the people I grew up around. It's crazy now. Haitians are starting to think like that. The Americanized ones. God bless.
Yes, it is truly a pity. And shout out to the Haitians, you dig? The ones on the island and abroad. For Haiti has a fine history, of which very few are familiar.
We have ZMJ said tuition.
Peace to the saints.
We have Sean Muhammad said peace to the saints. Your thoughts on getting a cybersecurity certification online through DeVry? I heard you say do an in-person program, but there aren't any.
Yes, I recall you had remarked on that. A man's got to do what a man's got to do. And I can tell you that doing something is much better than doing nothing. Let me promise you of that. Generally speaking, when you're talking about a private college such as a DeVry, you're going to be paying a premium to go there, which is to say more money than you would have paid at, say, a community college. But if this is the degree that you want and this is the right field, I think it's a smart thing to get started on. And at the end of the day, one thing I promise you, you should never let money hold you back from anything. So I say go forward like a fearless lunatic.
Okay, we have Steve said peace to the saints, paying tuition, just came back from the gym and hopped on the live. Couldn't miss this game for the world.
Peace to the saints. Good to see you, Steve. Shout out to the saints in Saint City, you dig.
We have Kevin White said peace to the saints, tuition.
Peace to the saints. That's Kevin White from the conference.
I think it's Swiffer Wetchet.
Swiffer Wetchet, indeed. It's good to see you, Saint. I see you suited and booted in the photo. Fantastic. I would also like to acknowledge, Jason Paul came in by a Cash App. He writes, I had a financial challenge. After a consultation, I'm on my way up. Good to hear, Saint. Stay positive. And one thing I want to let you all know is that No matter what your challenge is, make sure that you maintain positivity here. This is where the entire game is played. You never want to use negative terms to describe yourself or your situation. You always want to think positive and think in terms of winning. Winning is everything. When people say winning isn't everything, they're lying. Those are losers. Winning is everything. But you must understand on the way to winning, there will be challenges, there will be setbacks. It's not about winning every battle, it's about winning the world, the war, keeping your eyes on the big picture. Shout out to the Stoner family. Orion comes in, he writes, Peace to the Saints, peace to the Saints. And also, I think the Stoners are wise, stylish gentlemen. I think one of them, I just saw that their order shipped out. They copped the men's joggers and the super player workout shorts on mdblabel.com. So those are actually on their way, gentlemen, and they will arrive approximately February 21 to 24.
Okay, we have Maximo said, peace to the saints. Love these talks.
Peace to the saints. Yes, me too, because they're so practical. These are things that you can go out and use tomorrow. You see, the sad reality is that so many people go to YouTube for entertainment, but when you get some education, these are things you can apply the same day that will benefit you for a lifetime. And I always take notes so that I can present you with something that is logical, coherent, and linear. Shout out to Ivan, comes through via PayPal. He writes, I'm not on Marquett's level. That man is Hall of Fame status when it comes to being player, but I have a short player story about one I pulled at the gym recently. I love player stories. I was getting it in and I catch her looking at me, so I start walking toward her. I like that. Seize the moment. Don't ever hesitate. Before I even speak, she says, quote, I saw you over there doing planks. That's a beautiful thing when they speak up. You did. I say, I once heard someone wise say that if the abs ain't tight, the stroke game ain't right. That's a good one because everyone likes humor, especially women. She laughs and I say, she laughs and says, what's the longest you hold it for? I say, double whatever the longest time you can hold one for. Ooh, he talking that talk. See, this is something I enjoy. You heard me? This is a beautiful thing. She says, let's see it then. I say, cool. But after I do it, you got to give me the digits because you too fine for me to walk away without getting them. She broke after approximately 50 seconds. I went to about 2 minutes, 30 seconds just to let her know what time it was. See, you got to do that because they're going to constantly challenge you and you have to reprove yourself. No matter how legit you clearly are, they are going to consistently put you to the test. He writes, got the digits and went out a couple days later. Amen. We went to her place and Lord Jesus, she put it on a saint and put it on me good. Tabernacle. Gym girls for the win, didn't know they could ride that. Hey, that's a beautiful story, Saint. I appreciate you sharing that with us. It's always good to get inspiration and also know it's real in the field. You dig? The game don't stop. Ricardo comes in by PayPal. Oh, with his shipping fee, as you said. Yeah. Samson, moderator extraordinaire, writes, peace to the saints. How are you today, Marquette? I'm very well. I have some ambitious plans for the day. And every day that you wake up, you honor the fact that you were able to wake up by having plans, things you need to accomplish. And I can assure you that there are many people who would like to distract you, especially women, for they often have a tremendous amount of free time. So you have to plan your day so that your day is circled around goals, not around women, not around distractions, not around notifications from your phone. Also, shout out to Kevin, comes in via Cash App. He writes, peace to the Saints, Tuition International Saints checking in. Indeed. Good to hear from you, Saint.
Okay, we have Javier said, got fired a couple years back. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. Now I got a better job, way better pay, way less stress, and I'm overall much happier than I was. Keep your head up, Saint. That's the gentleman that said he got fired.
Yes, peace to the saints. That's a beautiful message to share. And perspective is meaningful because sometimes when we're in a situation, we feel like it's never going to end or that it's worse than it is. I appreciate you being kind enough to share your experience with that saint and also all of the others who are watching.
Okay, we have Vi said, Peace to the saints. I will be missing this live as I need to work on my goals, showing love and wishing all the saint peace and success, Carlo.
Peace to the saints. I see the saint is out in Mexico. It's a beautiful thing. Is that the saint coming to the conference from Mexico?
Possibly.
Possibly. I see someone in the chat. It says something negative. Chase writes, quote, sorry, but I'm not performing planks to get a phone number. You see, this kind of thing is, you could have just listened and shut the fuck up. You could have done that. But instead, you said, I'm going to open my mouth to say something negative. That's not what we teach here. I don't know how long you've been following, but number one, I have a quote. I even have a poster which says, should this thought become a word, meaning should I open my mouth to say something? Should it become an action, meaning I shouldn't say anything, I should do something? Or should it become nothing, which is to say, shut the fuck up? And sometimes you need to shut the fuck up, which is to say, number one, you probably wouldn't say that in person. And number two, you're saying something that doesn't benefit anyone. You've added no goodness. That's not a manly thing to do, especially when someone's sharing a positive story. That is wickedness. And the reason that we have the saint and the sinner nation is because not all of us are saintly in nature. My hope is that you've just committed an error, and that is not representative of who you are.
Okay, we have Live, Love, Shoot said, Peace to the saints. A little off subject, but would you ever turn the black box into video shorts or a movie? Definitely took me to a place reading it.
I really appreciate that. I would like to make it a movie, not to aggrandize myself, but rather because there are still many who don't read. And also, I wrote it like a movie and I lived it like a movie. You know, those were a lot of exciting memories collected together that are very cinematic. And it would be quite a nice movie in as much as most of them are phony and exaggerated. So I think it'd be very entertaining. And I would love that, you know, one day if one of the saints would do that, that would be a quite an experience. We caught up?
We are caught up.
Fantastic. Saints, I would ask all of you to go ahead and, if you haven't, click the like button. For it appears that a great many are watching. They haven't sent in any tuition, which is fine. I understand that some people may be in poverty temporarily. But if you aren't sending in tuition, the least one could do would be click the like button. And understandably, you know, maybe not everyone likes the content. So if you're still watching, but you don't like the content enough to click the like button, I would be curious as to why you're watching, or why you don't want to click the like button. Maybe there's something I'm unaware of. I'll give you all a moment to do so.
And we have Daniel, also from Mexico, said, Tuition, peace to the saints, love from Mexico.
Peace to the saints. Shout out to Mexico.
So one of them is coming
Yes.
in person in Las Vegas.
Well, might not necessarily be one of these two, but someone
is coming
from Mexico. Saints from Europe, Mexico, all over the United States. It'll be quite an experience. And what I really like is that it'll be like family. So I made it smaller. We limited the number of attendees. So I'm very excited.
And we checked out the setup and we're excited how it looks.
Yes. The chairs are already in place. The screen is up. Tickets are purchased for our speakers who are flying in. So got that all paid for. It will be an experience. Let me give you all the definition of alimony. This is something, by the way, you all hear many complaints about from males today. Alimony is financial support that a person is ordered by a court to give to their spouse during separation or following divorce. Now, there's a couple comical aspects of this. Number one, are there, because we don't have to.
It just came in.
Okay.
He said, watching while on a run, hit the like if you enjoyed the video, hit the dislike if you don't.
If you don't like it, just leave. Don't hit the dislike, just leave. That'll be the smarter thing to do. As a saint, if I watched someone's video, I didn't like it, I would just leave. The person IGI, block them. The mental illness is so strong. Carrying on. Alimony, financial support that a person is ordered by a court to give to their spouse during a separation or following a divorce. As you all know, most divorces are brought forward by the female, which is comical because most marriages are also brought forward by the female. The sad reality is that, there are two struggles. Number one, the female is generally an emotional creature who is not linear in their thinking and is given to fantasy. There's a fantasy about marriage, particularly the wedding. There's an overemphasis on the wedding, which is a single day. There's a lack of emphasis on the marriage, which is a lifetime, well, supposed to be. And the woman becomes obsessed with this day in which she gets to be the center of attention. Oh, side note, attention is a magical drug to the female psyche. So she's centered around this single day, and she gets to experience this day, which is a big climax. And then after that, there's the hard work, or shall we say, the less exciting work of marriage and being a wife. They'd rather be a bride than a wife. Ooh, that's a nice quotation. Would someone DM me? Most women would rather be a bride than a wife. Yes, please do DM me that. Carrying on. That being the case, they force the male into a marriage commitment that he generally did not want at that time. They're ready before you're ready, which makes sense because the female does mature faster. And more importantly, the biological clock is ticking. And the immature female in this society tends to date males her own age. So when you're dating someone your own age, the female's ready before the male. So you end up getting married. And both of you theoretically should want to stay in the marriage, except the female not only has that emotional variation, which is just inherently a human female characteristic, but then there's this other factor of her actual biology is making significant changes as time goes on. Estrogen levels are changing, hormonal changes going on, menopause. So she actually, at some level, is becoming a different person, which would be reasonable if you looked at her and said, I don't even know who you are anymore, because she actually has had significant changes. And conversely, the male, over time, you'll lose some amount of testosterone, but you're probably not going to change as rapidly and as significantly. And certainly you won't be as disagreeable. Women are going through menopause talking about, turn on the AC, it's hot. And you turn it on, they're like, ooh, it's freezing in here. They're having hot flashes, cold flashes.
You sound like an old woman.
Yeah, and that's how it goes. So while they're going through all of this, the male is maintaining fairly steady. And now that they've gone through these changes, they've changed and they're looking at you like, why haven't you changed? Or maybe like, hey, the new me doesn't like the old you. And now they want a divorce. Or maybe they just engaged in adultery or other low moral behaviors. But whatever the case is, they bring forth the divorce. And ironically, though they've brought forth the divorce, now they're trying to turn the divorce into a payday, as though you haven't been paying during the whole duration of the marriage. Strange. Jamal, bowler alert, writes, how are you today? I'm doing fantastically well. I started the day very early, which is what a saint does. I worked out first thing, which makes me feel strong. He writes, also, when you're ready for the movie, I would be excited to be a part of the project. Oh, may we have all of the saints a part of the project. It is my hope that everything we do is done with saints. So thank you for that question and sharing that offer. I look forward to it. So as I was saying, so the woman brings forth the divorce and then she wants to turn it into a payday, i.e. alimony. And in a wicked society, we have the laws arranged such that when a woman is no longer under your care, nor is she there to benefit you, you still have to pay for her. That is peculiar. That's like walking into Starbucks and saying, hey, I'd like to have a coffee. And they make you pay, but they never give you the coffee. That's essentially what's happening. And the ironic part, not only are you paying for the coffee's being handed to another man. And he gets to drink the coffee free of cost at your expense, in fact, because there's no such thing as free of cost. There is always a cost. It's a cost to your pockets. And in this case, probably a cost to your pride as well. And so the ironic thing is that your spouse is now sleeping with another man and you're paying her to do it. Like, talk about getting done dirty. This is the kind of thing that'll get you killed, ain't it? That's why you be seeing these chicks on forensic files chopped up. Go ahead.
I just laughed.
Okay, yeah, I can't blame you. Now, consider this. Here's the sad reality of our society. And let us not be unclear. Alimony was created for women. It is the good fortune that sometimes men can get alimony, but it is rarely the case. Increasingly, it may be the case as females are beginning to outpace males economically. primarily because males are becoming weak and lazy and wicked, as some of the folks in the comments we've seen. So, that being the case, that women are scraping this alimony out of your pockets from your hard earned dollars, you have to ask yourself, well, why would they want my money if they're an independent woman? Why would they want my money if they too are an adult? Well, that's strange because don't adults earn for themselves? Well, the reality is that they're actually more like a child because when you ask yourself, well, who else does the court system order men to pay money to without condition of the relationship or how they behave? Children. The court system orders men to pay money to children for children. It's called child support. Now, spousal support is quite a pathetic idea because why would you have to support an adult that you're not dealing with, you're not friends with? In fact, you might even be enemies of. Very peculiar. So let us not deny the clear reality that at some level, women can be very similar to children, both pouty, emotional, and not behaving according to way the world really is, and thinks the world owes them something. They have a lot in common.
Okay, we have Justice Wilcox sent $20. He said tuition.
Peace to the saints. I appreciate those men who stand up, and I appreciate the saintly among you making yourselves heard. For it is a truly concerning thing. You see people in the comments who are so mentally ill they watch the videos hating the entire time that they do it, or they would see a saint say something, share a positive story, and then they respond with some negativity. That is not what the world needs. The world needs more goodness and positivity, and the world surely doesn't need negativity from a man. We're supposed to be the leaders. How can you help a woman out of her jealousy when you are jealous yourself? This stuff is comical. Oh my goodness. Anyways, shout out to Marvin, comes in by Cash App. He writes, showing love from SoCal. Shout out, you dig.
We have Kid Cool said tuition.
Peace of the saints. Carrying on. So let us talk about what one might call reverse alimony. It's reverse alimony in that you're essentially setting up a situation wherein your former spouse or former wife, whatever the case may be, is going to be indebted to you, having to pay you. Now, it won't be court ordered because the court rarely orders anyone to do anything good, right? So this is something you can set up for yourself. And what I want you to understand as a man is that you always have to take full responsibility. If you believe in something and you want to establish a law or a principle, know that it will be established because you practice it and because you enforce it. It will not be established just because you said. No, 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 no. That's not how the world works. So as men, let us take responsibility. If you would like to protect your assets, if you would like to ensure that if all goes wrong or your female is unfaithful or immoral, that you are in the stronger position, heed this advice. I'm going to describe a strategy that you can utilize to protect yourself financially. The chief question is, how do you get alimony out of a female? We're used to females marrying us legally, only to later divorce us and milk us for alimony and child support. And we can't get out of it because they use the instrumentality of the government, which will exact violence upon us. This wicked government employs two forms of violence: A, financial hardship, and B, incarceration. Isn't it comical that I should go to prison for not giving money that I never agreed to give? It's strange. Thereby, in exacting this violence, they actually make us slaves of that female that we're not even involved with anymore. What is a slave? One that provides profit to another with against their will.
Okay, we have Gino sent $20. He said peace to the saints, tuition.
Peace to the saints. Step number one in protecting yourself is only take women with good credit seriously. Meaning you shouldn't take the woman seriously if she doesn't have good credit. And you might say, well, Marquette, I'm not trying to hire her for a job. I'm not about to approve a bank loan for this woman. Why do I need to know her credit? Here's a very clear reason. When you're in school, whether it's primary, secondary, or university, your grade at that time is your report card, your academic report card. As an adult, your scorecard then becomes your bank account, your liquid capital, and or your credit score, meaning your ability to be financially responsible over time. What you must understand about the female personality versus the male personality is that innately males are more prone to risk and females are more risk averse. Males are more prone to be willing to go against the grain, women are more likely to be agreeable. That being the case, if a woman has bad credit, it is a clear indication of a couple critical things that should scare you. Number one, she's irresponsible. Number two, she either previously was broke or is broke today. And number three, she may have taken some uncalculated risk. And you need a woman to help balance you. If you're an entrepreneur taking risk, you might end up with bad credit because you have to use your own personal finances to support a corporation or support a business. Now, if she's been working a steady job, there's no reason she should have bad credit. You know when your check's coming, you know how much the check is going to be, and you know what your bills are. These are all constants and givens. You can put this into a mathematical equation to make sure that you're never in bad shape. So a woman with bad credit is an indication of a low class woman, an indication of an irresponsible woman, an indication of a woman who has debts, an indication of a woman who's likely to need your money. She don't want it, she need it. Some of them want it and don't need it, but this one wants it and needs it. So you should never take her seriously if she has bad credit. It is a major red flag.
Okay, we have Ezekiel said, is it weird for me to not give a female noggin?
It would be atypical. I wouldn't use the term weird. It would be atypical, but if that's your decision, so be it. But also, hey, I mean, you can only define weird or normal based on what everyone else is doing. And the truth is that what people do in their bedroom is a private matter. We're in a perverse society where people discuss sex in public, and that's actually not proper. So, what is proper is for that to be private. And a woman who is not promiscuous would not be aware of what other women are doing, because upright women should not discuss the details of what they do sexually. And further, they shouldn't have very much sexual experience. So whatever you choose to do with this female should be within her limited scope of experience. And hence, she should not have anything to compare it to. And hopefully she's not a pervert on the internet watching, others have intercourse.
Okay, we have Oculus, if you want to go ahead and.
Baller alert. A channel did this once. They uploaded a video and told all their subscribers to intentionally dislike it as an experiment. They did so and discovered that it still increased the visibility of the channel. So appreciate your haters, Saint. Thank you very much for sharing that. And you know what? Haters are appreciated because you have to have losers to have winners. So at some level, I do appreciate them. And I thank you for sharing that information because that's meaningful.
It's not a super chat, but we have someone that said that they had a higher credit score than irresponsibility to cause it to drop, but currently rebuilding, and your videos are making him the most focused he's ever been in his life.
Peace of the saints. And we all commit error. And as I was sharing with the Saint Jason, it is the saint who corrects error. Most people live in a perpetually broken state, broken mentally, broken physically, broken in every way. And they call that normal and they're comfortable with that, which is the comical part.
Okay, we have I Keep Pushing. He sent tuition.
Peace of the saints. Carrying on. Here we are. So the first point, only take women seriously if they have good credit. And also on the flip side, you should have good credit. And if you don't, you should start working on that now. You should be financially savvy and responsible. Secondly, you have to have this basic understanding when you're dealing with women and seeking to protect your assets, which is the idea that women must be managed, point blank, period. If you say that you're the leader in the relationship, that means that they're the follower, which means you have to manage them. Certainly, they'll be intelligent and be able to think on their own and make decisions, but you have to manage them at some level, which mostly involves managing their emotions and in some cases, managing their time. But to think that they're just going to operate independent of you while living under the same roof and then still make good decisions that are to the benefit of the family would not be realistic. So I caution you to know that they must be managed and they must be tended to. Now, depending on the type of woman you have, that will require different amounts of time investment. I always encourage you to deal with women who are upright women, a good woman. The sad reality is that so many are focused on a bad bitch rather than a good woman. Thirdly, you must Find a moral woman, a lady saint. That is the woman who will follow a man's lead. And your lead will be to tell her this, which is, I love you, but I will not get married under the law of the United States of America, Britain, Australia, Europe, or India. Those are the nation states that I know have terrible laws around marriage. There may be more, but generally speaking, it's probably not wise to get married under any of these laws. And you would let her know that, as you know me to be a man of my word, we are married upon my word. You will provide her the option to take your last name, but you will not be married under the law. And to this point, depending on which municipality you're in, which state, it might be necessary for you to establish a residence apart from her. Doesn't mean you have to live there, but you should have another address to where your mail goes, because in California, in some cases, even if you don't marry the woman, they'll say, okay, well, you guys have been living together for this number of years, so we're going to legally allow her to extort you. Further, if the woman follows your lead, she's a good woman. If the woman refuses to follow your lead, i.e., she's like, no, I need to get married under the law, that lets you know that she doesn't really take you to be her leader or her ultimate authority. As a man, you are a woman's ultimate authority. So if she believes that the government or the state is above you and she won't take your word to be the word that creates the marriage, then you should know that if anything goes wrong, she will appeal to that same authority that she finds to be above you. So you're basically putting yourself into a situation you know from the beginning will be bad. Further, women who are not going to marry you legally are less likely to seek a prenuptial agreement. Now, whether you have a prenuptial agreement or not, meaning in legal marriage, that doesn't protect you. Just side note, in case you were thinking, oh, I got a prenup, I'm good. Nah, if that was the case, billions of dollars in lawyer money would not have been spent trying to protect assets on the back end. Now, this is the system that you want to set up to ensure your financial prosperity within the context of marriage. Number one, anytime you have something that is going to come into your hands as an asset, this is something you would want to put into your name. Asset is an object or a piece of property, something that will accrue value over time. It will become more valuable, namely real estate. You'd like to put this in your own name. Expensive liabilities such as automobiles, cars, boats, things that are not going to bring in money, things that are going to eat away at your money, things that are basically vanity based, those are things that you would put into her name. Now, granted, it's likely that you'll have to pay the down payment on it and you'll maintain the monthly payment. This is why she has to have good credit so that she can be able to get these things and maintain them. You'll be paying them monthly. Now, the good thing for both of you is that if she plays her part as a good woman and you play your part as a good man, there will never be an issue because your money is her money is your money. So in the end, you all will stay together and your assets will be shared and your liabilities will be shared. If for some reason she decides to jump ship, she's been unfaithful, she's been dishonest, she's become unbearably lazy, whatever the case is, and she needs to exit stage left because she has wronged, well, then if she did you super dirty, leave her with those liabilities. If she just needs to leave because maybe she's lazy and you prefer something new, then say, hey, you have my Rolls Royce in your name. I'm going to give you all of the cash right now to make it free and clear. Or you continue paying the payment and then she signs it over to your name, whatever the case is. I think you'd be wiser to just pay it out in cash and then sever that relationship. That's what an honorable person would do. If you just come to a reasonable end, an honorable person will settle all of their debts. Because as I always tell you, pay what you owe. If that woman has served you and she's been good for the duration of the relationship and she made that mistake where she needs to exit, let her exit on good terms. But if she's been unfaithful, bringing you back, her body that's been shared with other men, then, in that case, fuck her. Don't fuck her, but, fuck her. Let her go and carry them liabilities with her. You dig? Like, oh, okay, girl, you could go ahead and pay that $3,000 a month note on the Rolls Royce yourself. Deuces.
Okay, we have Screech that's sending tuition. Also, thank you for uploading the Enemy Part 1 video for members. Kevin and I are about to hit the scene here in Italy, dressed like the pimpin'. Haha, peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints. It's good to hear from you two gentlemen today. I can't wait to get back out to Europe. And we're definitely going to pull up on you. I know the Saints were in Hungary, had a great time over there. So we'll be out there soon. And yes, that how to deal with your enemy part one video is serious. And that one is for the top two tiers because it has just a lot of sensitive information, but it describes how to deal with someone who is creating an issue in your life or someone you know is about to create an issue. Because I can assure you that if you are letting your enemies breathe, you're giving them more opportunity to hurt you. So you must strike first, or as you read in the black box, swing first. Your assets as a man should be purchased independently and recorded solely in your name. So if it's a home, it should be in your name as a man. If it is not in your name as a man, you are now at tremendous risk that that woman will walk away with your house. The only thing that would stop her is if she can't pay the payments. But even then, you're screwed because she's not going to accept the money from you. So she'd probably better sell it. And then she'll take the equity off of the house and walk away with profit. And you will walk away with nothing. Now, women might be watching this saying, dang, Marquette, that sounds really grimy that you're going to put all the assets in the man's name and all the liabilities in the woman's name. How do you figure that's a good idea? Well, I figure it's a good idea if you've married the right man who you have faith in and he's an honest man of integrity. He's going to do the honest thing. He's going to do the upright thing. So as long as you don't do anything crazy, all will be well. But let me tell you this, ladies. Be wise before you get into marriage. Be wise in selecting the man you want to spend your life with. Be wise and look at the man and say, do I want to die with this man? Ask yourself, if this man died before me, would I want to get in the casket and go with him? That's how the pharaohs used to do it. I think when the pharaohs died, they're like, hey, put all my stuff in the pyramid and then them 8 holes, put them in there too. We all going out. So if that's not a man you want to die with, that's not a man you should be dealing with at any level. The problem is that females are sleeping around and engaging in extracurricular activity that basically devalues their bodies and devalues their ability to, or rather lowers their ability to connect sincerely with a man. And once they've been run through by so many guys, a good guy isn't going to want you. So yes, this system is correct. The assets shall be in the man's hands, and the man shall do what is wise with those assets. If you don't think your man is a wise steward of money and assets, then you should pick a man who is.
We have Stefan said, anecdotal, but in my experience, women with well-off fathers, family aren't money hungry, provided her father approves of your character and competence. Peace of the saints.
Peace of the saints. That is generally true. I always say you don't want to deal with women who grew up in poverty, for poverty is traumatic and generally they have a lot of baggage. And also they have been struggling for mere survival. And so they're always talking about, I'm trying to get my bag. I'm trying to get my money together. I'm a boss, bitch. Like they're ghetto and they're obsessed with money, even though they don't have any money. They always talk about money, even though they don't have any. It's ironic. And then the ones who've grown up very well off, their parents have been bourgeois and they've allowed money to cause their morals to decay. And the parents were too busy to tend to the children in the appropriate way. They let a nanny raise their kids, or they let their money raise their kids. And as a result, their little girl was traveling around the world in young age, unattended and unchaperoned. And she had sexual experiences early, or she saw too much of the world. And that does not make for a good woman. Who wants to be with a female where you can't show her anything new? She's already been here, done that. You try a new position, she's already experienced it. You know, no man wants to be with a woman like that. So the children of the wealthy often are quite unimpressed. If you find you a nice middle-class girl who was raised well and is coachable and takes responsibility, you are blessed. Notice I didn't mention her body. I didn't mention her lip fillers. I didn't mention breast implants. I didn't mention anything external. All of the values you would look for in a woman that you would spend your life with are all internal, because her good looks cannot raise your children. Thank you for that meaningful point, Stefan. Another thing you should observe about this system that I've just described to you is that it actually bonds the male and the female. And I do want to make clear one of the assumptions of this system, which is that generally it is dependent on the male being a greater earner than the female. Now, if your female is earning more than you, it'll be a touch harder to establish this system, but it can still be done. And you should still seek to establish it because income does not establish leadership. I have a video you should check out if you haven't already, which is, I believe it's entitled, Are Men Meant to Be Providers? Sadly, that is the only way some women today think of the male, not realizing that we're not only providers of financial things, but also of leadership, of comfort, of guidance, of peace, of stability, of protection, of many things. So this system is for all men, but it's a little harder if you are not the bigger earner in the relationship. Ezekiel writes, "You are a wise man," which is why I like to get your input on things. Do you have any sales experience? Yes, I do. Any advice on becoming a better salesperson? Number one, having a good product is the first place to start. Sometimes people don't have a good product. A good product is defined not only by what the product actually is, but if it is suitable for the market you're targeting, price wise and quality wise. So, for example, this microphone right here is much more expensive than this other microphone. So this microphone costs 5 times more than this microphone. Only a very serious broadcaster would want this microphone. So they're both good products, but they're good for different demographics. So number one, start with a good product and know whom to sell it to. A lot of sales education forgets to teach you that you cannot sell everything to everyone. Like, for example, this gold on gold watch with canary diamonds in it. This is a beautiful timepiece. But if you were to go through an impoverished neighborhood, you'd have a lot of trouble selling a timepiece like this. So the number one goal of a good salesperson is to have a great product. And the number two, to target the great product to as many of the correct potential buyers as possible. If you can do that, you'll be in good shape, because at the end of the day, no matter how slick your mouthpiece is, it's less about what you're saying and it's more about how often you're saying it. It's the law of large numbers, and it's about being clear and precise. A lot of salespeople who are untrained, they tend to be verbose. They talk more than they listen. For example, in this new home that I have, maybe 5 people knocked on the door to sell us things.
Yeah.
And me, I actually like buying things I need. And I can spend an infinite amount of money. I am the ideal customer. Like, of all the doors they knocked on that day, this was the best door they could have knocked on. But the challenge is I don't have a lot of time. I got money, but I don't have time. So when I would open the door and I say, "Hey, what are you selling?" They want to tell me this long ass story. I don't have time for your long story. Tell me what you're selling and tell me how much it is, because I might buy it. And if I'm gonna buy it, I'm gonna buy it right now. You don't need to come back later. I don't need to go talk to my wife. I'm gonna buy it right now. Just tell me what you're saying, selling, and tell me how much it costs. But most of them are afraid to do that. They need to say all these words because they're dealing with a lot of customers who might not have the cash liquidity, and they haven't listened to figure out who they're dealing with. You always have to be a listener as a salesperson. Thank you for your question.
And not one of them succeeded.
Not one of them succeeded, even though they were selling things I literally needed.
And that we got.
One person was selling a security system, and I'm all about security, and I was shopping for a security system, but they wouldn't tell me what the price was. Another person was selling a water softener, which we needed, and we bought a water softener, but not from them because they wouldn't tell me what the price is. All these secrets. Like, we have a trial for free. I don't need a free trial. I don't want a free trial. Just tell me what the price is.
Someone commented on your shirt. I think Jason Paul's on the call. He's working on one with you right now.
Indeed. And Jason Paul is going to make a superior shirt to this because, number one, this shirt doesn't have any give in it. There's no elasticity in this shirt, which is fine because I had this shirt handmade to my body's dimensions by a tailor in Dubai. So it doesn't need to be elastic, but for you, you're not going to have your shirts handmade by a tailor. So you do need some elasticity so that it moves with you. Then secondly, I can't even put on this shirt by myself. I actually have to have Bridget button these up for me. The shirt that we're making will have the snap-on buttons, which have a little bit of magnetism. So it's easier to put on. And it'll have an improvement in the design. So the collar and the placket will connect. And this is yellow, which I like yellow. Kind of has like 4 colors in this. So the one we're designing will be a little simpler on the color side, but still floral pimping. You did.
Was Jason part of the black one that I just picked up?
Yes.
There was a black woman working at the cleaner, and she went on and on about how fantastic the shirt was.
Really?
Yeah.
That's player right there. So Bridget was holding a shirt at the cleaners. It was on the hanger, and a woman was saying, "That's some serious pimping."
Well, she was the worker, so she sees clothing
Oh,
all
wow.
the time, and she just
Yeah.
kept going on and on. There were other customers, and she wouldn't stop talking
So
about
that
how
should have
nice-
been nothing to her.
right.
But she saw that, whoo-wee, you heard me? And that's what it's about is, you can do it, but it's like, if you're going to do it like you're doing it for TV, right? If we're going to go outside, let's go outside. Let's really get dressed out here. And that's why when a woman looks at a super P and looks at an average man, she should be able to see the difference. We caught up?
Yep.
Fantastic. I also want to note to you, gentlemen, that the purpose of this talk is not to teach anyone how to con or scam. This is outside of who we are. This is to protect that which is yours. This is not to take something from someone else. This is to protect that which is actually yours. That's an important thing to understand. I also find it comical that you have this new documentary or docudrama on Netflix called The Tinder Swindler. And it's very comical because men get swindled by women left and right all the time. In fact, it's so normal that we couldn't even make a movie about it because the movie would be too damn long, and because there's just endless stories. And then number 2, no one would watch it because we just call that life. And men take responsibility and say, okay, she was a gold digger. She caught me slipping. It is what it is, carrying on. But if a woman loses $1 to a man, then it's a tragedy. We need to make a movie. Hashtag me too, the Tinder Swindler. Netflix, number 1. And when you really study that documentary or docudrama, you know what the comical thing is about that? You could take that one off the screen, love. The comical thing about that is these women got swindled because they were trying to steal from him. They were gold diggers. He was able to swindle them because when they were looking at his Tinder profile, they saw private jets, they saw fancy dinners, they saw exotic automobiles, and they said, I want to be a part of this lifestyle. So they were pursuing him for his wealth. But somehow in the documentary, they seem to overlook that small fact. They were pursuing him for his wealth. And yes, he did take them out on fancy dates. He did fly them in private jets, but they were appalled when they had to pay for it on the back end. Huh? And that's the disgusting thing about these individuals. It's like no one in that whole documentary said, okay, it looks like he scammed a whole bunch of gold diggers who have been scamming guys their whole life. So it seems like we're even Steven. But now they're trying to use the law to get back at him. Well, the thing that bothers me is I don't think he held a gun to anyone. I don't think he forced them to give the money. They handed it over willingly. Is that a swindle? Curious. Because was it not a swindle when they were trying to get free dinners, when they were trying to go on a private jet? Or when they got on that private jet, did they say, hey, buddy, how much is the fuel for this private jet? Hey, I've never been on a G4 or G5 private jet, but how much does it cost for this thing to fly from London to wherever the hell we're going? I want to go half seas with you. You think they did that? No. Hell no. True comedy. But as I said, women don't take responsibility for what they do. And the sad reality is that so many women are not managed by a man. Every woman should be managed by a man, whether you're managed by your father, which is before you get married, or once you're married, you're managed by your husband, which is say someone should be looking out for you, giving you some guidance. Because when they're without guidance and they're running these streets out here, they tend to get themselves into trouble. And what's worse is once they get into trouble, they want to blame everybody else. Yet they would still measure themselves up against us as men and say that they are equal parts. They're independent and they want every right. But when they get the rights, when they get the freedom, they exercise the freedom and leave themselves in a pit.
Okay, we have Elijah said, peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints. I appreciate all of you who step forward to pay tuition and show thanks for the content, because I see the messages where people will say, hey, do this kind of content, or buy a new mic, buy a new camera. You should have all these things. And it's comical to me because I don't think they realize that one camera costs $2,000. You add a lens to it. Now the camera's $3,000-$4,000 for one camera. Microphone is $500. Headsets are $200. You know what I'm saying? Like the lights are a couple thousand. It's just funny when people ask for all these things. And I just want to reemphasize to you, and I hope you reemphasize to your children, that that is not manly to ask something for nothing. That is womanly. That's why The Tinder Swindler is a movie, because the women wanted something for nothing. They wanted a free ride in a fancy car, fancy dinners, ride on private jets, and they didn't want to pay anything or give anything to have that privilege. But men know that you have to pay. So, which is to say, a guy was in one of the comments and he wrote, "Oh, this would be better with timestamps." And I'm thinking, well, then put the timestamps there. Watch the video and make the timestamps so that men who come after you can benefit. But we lost the concept of community. We've lost the concept of manhood, which is not to see something and say this should happen, but to do something. And that's what happens when you have big government. There's some shadowy figure doing everything for you, and you start to sit back and think you can't accomplish anything, not realizing that government is merely a collection of people. That's all it is. And when you're a man in a community, you don't walk by a street that has garbage on the ground and say, somebody should clean this up. You pick up the garbage and throw it in the garbage can. And that is what we're dealing with here. So I do want to shout out the saints, and I really mean saints, who go through the videos and say, hey, I'm going to post up the timestamps. And I wish I could remember everyone's name, but I can't. But for the guys, I think Darren the Great was the one who did it most recently. There's another gentleman. I also want to shout out, I think his name is Salafi or Salfi. Please forgive me. I'll have to check on these things. Who's making those shorts? If you're seeing the shorts and you're enjoying them, that's him. And so it takes a teamwork to make the dream work, but real men stand up, they contribute, they get things done, they don't complain. But you have so many acting like women and think they're males. We don't condone that around here. And anytime you see someone in our comments or in our live chat, let them know what time it is and where they're at and say, hey, abide by our culture here. And to that point, culture is expressed in behavior. Culture is expressed in appearance. Culture is expressed in language. When you see people in our comments using language that is outside of our culture, let them know we don't use the term partner. We don't speak like that because we're not a part of the Fruity Pebble consumption community. And that's fine. They can do that on their side. We don't use this Frank Castle terminology because I don't even know what that means. So, and I'm pretty confident I have a larger vocabulary than most people in the chat. So if I don't know what it means, it's probably nonsense. Get it out of here. And other things that are outside of our language. And there were some young ladies on the Saint City podcast saying bing bong, and they were just, women are often victim of consumer culture. So they're using this from some like TikTok stuff. And I'm going to let them know before the podcast in the future, like, hey, we don't use branded language from other channels that are outside of what we do here. You see, you cannot spread a way unless you live in the way and you enforce the way, period. And we are in dire times. Know that. If I have to make a video telling you how to stop women from stealing from you, that's a problem. You're being stolen from those who are weaker than you. Imagine how strange the society is where the smaller, weaker party is stealing from the bigger, stronger party. It can't happen.
Well, and another thing, back to the original point of thanking people that are contributing, we're not making money on YouTube. There's no ads. We're doing this. This is free content.
Absolutely. And doing this with the same seriousness that Martin Luther King orated the I Have a Dream speech. Yeah, with that level of seriousness and focus on movement and revolution, not only in the law, but also in your mind and in the culture. That's right. We don't run ads on here. And our super chats never amount to the amount of time I spend. Know that. The super chats cannot even pay for my lunch. I promise you. If you've ever, and the other thing is I show love when the Saints come in town. I take them out. I spend $1,000 on a check because I didn't like bought dinner for 9-10 saints at once. It never adds up to what I'm doing. I'm doing this because I believe in you. And it is your responsibility, along with my responsibility as a man, to carry your weight. And I'm not saying in the form of super chats. I'm saying if all you can do, if you can only click the like button, click the like button. If you can do the timestamps, do the timestamps. If you can cut up clips and send them to me for TikTok, do that. Whatever you can do something, but don't stand around like a goddamn fool. And don't stand around and watch the world burn and not try to put some water on it and not try to rebuild, because it's burning right now. Trust that.
Okay, we have Marcus McLilly said, any idea why a woman would break up with me but continue to sleep with me and tell me she loves me? Peace to the saints.
I'm glad you asked me that. Often in life, we ask the wrong question. What I mean is, you ever heard somebody say, why ask why? Which is to say that if the woman broke up with you, that's a sign she don't want to be with you. That's probably a bad sign. If she broke up with you, that's a bad sign. If she wants to sleep with you and you want to sleep with her, hey, get her for what she's good for. You dig? But if she's saying she loves you, I'm like, whoa, that's some strange love. You love me and that you want to fornicate with me, but you don't want to have the wholeness of love. She doesn't understand love. In fact, Bridget, make a note. I want to make a video on what is love. Actually, a video called There Is No Such Thing as Love. That's what the video, There Is No Such Thing as Love. That's the video I want to make. But thank you for that question, Saint.
Okay, we have Zanaria said, peace to the saints, tuition.
Peace to the saints. He came back with it, huh?
We have Kevin White back again with another $20. He said, doing what's easy and doing what's simple is two different things. Example, it's easy to complain, but simple to ask, how can I achieve?
Wow. Thank you. And to that point of you see the same names coming up, Peace to the Saints. Shout out to Mitchell McCauley. Get your jab journal at www.thesasn.com. And Mitchell makes the money for that, and he deserves it because it's a damn good product, which I bought and I use. And also, I think Mitchell now has the record of most product sales of any saint.
Yeah, I just told you that last night.
Yeah.
And his has been posted for like a week.
Yes. And it's not necessarily the most money made because he doesn't have an expensive product. He has a well-priced product, but it's the most highest number of sales because people have been getting that jab journal because it's helps you achieve your goals. Why wouldn't you want it? So shout out to Mitchell McCauley. And I want you all to know that he's had monthly consultations with me. If you want to schedule your own, maybe you want to create a product-based business or have conversation about some challenges you're going through, you can book that at marquettism.com, marquettism.com. But what I can tell you is that for months on end, he worked on this product. It's a damn good product. And I'm very happy for him that he's seeing the fruit of his labor and that he's benefiting from that financially because he deserves that. And there's nothing wrong with making money. Making money is a good thing. And it's even better when you get the money and you gave someone something that they really wanted. And that's a damn good product, that Jab Journal. You can get it at www.thesasn.com. And shout out to him because he's sending them out quickly too.
He's very quick. Yeah.
Yes. Zim Can IT writes, peace to the saints. I achieved 2 CompTIA certifications recently and landed my first IT job. Congratulations. That's a beautiful thing. I remember, every time I got a job, which I think was only 2 times in my whole life, but it was always a feeling of triumph because it's not easy. Let's be real here. He writes, how can I add value at work and be put forward for promotion? The number one thing is ask for a meeting. And here's the thing. You're taking initiative. Ask for a meeting from your immediate supervisor and say, hey, I want to achieve this. What do I need to do? And also understand what the big goals are of the business as a whole and how you can factor into driving that, and make sure that you have a relationship with all of the persons above you. Those are the ones that need to like you. They need to know you, and they need to have you in mind when they want to promote someone or when they need something. So offer service. And remember, you don't have to get paid for everything you do because that's what gets you the promotion, which is them saying like, oh man, like we want to promote somebody. Well, we know that Zim can do the job because he's already doing it, even though we're not paying him to do it. That's what gets you promoted. Ricardo writes, the Jab Journal is of great quality as expected. Peace to the Saint Mitchell. Indeed.
He sent that just to support Mitchell and let people know.
And that is saintliness. You see, whereas the broke individual at the beginning of the live stream, they said something to detract, something negative. And it's not surprising they didn't super chat because they're broke. Broke people and negative people, generally the same person. This guy, on the other hand, this saint spent his own money to say something good which helps support another person and their product getting sold. That's saintly nature. That is goodness. That is a person with a good heart.
And that's why even though the jump rope sold out, and he said, "Can you send me a running belt? We're going to send it, even though there's a price difference,
Different. Absolutely.
because this is the type of person he is."
Absolutely. And that's what community is about. That's what family is about. And so few of us really have a true sense of that. And for that reason, that's why I wanted to shrink the size of the conference so that it can feel more like family. So this is a test, this next one that's coming up, and I'm excited to see how it runs. Ezekiel writes, personal question, feel free to answer or not. How did you, I think the word is supposed to be mold, Bridget into the woman that you want and one that you take seriously? I think that Bridget's parents' upbringing and culture have been the greatest factor in her development. I mean, sure, there are things that you can teach someone about you and what you prefer, but the culture and upbringing and parenting, maybe even what you see from your grandparents as well, is a major factor. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, and I've told you this. I have, I think, 11 aunts and uncles that are all married, never once been divorced. So my mom has 7 siblings, never been divorced. My dad has 4, never been divorced. So I was never around divorce. I was around families and where women take care of men, and there's no question.
Right, exactly. And that makes life a lot more simple. You see, when you see marriage as an example and family as an example, that's pretty much all there is. There's nothing else. But when you grow up with a single mother talking about she independent, even though she on EBT, then you see alternative ways to living, and you're not scared of that. In fact, you're probably more comfortable with that because that's how you grew up. Jackson writes, tuition, peace of the saints, peace of the saints.
But you've also told people, I mean, I'm from Kentucky. Like you tell people,
Kentucky. I'm from Kentucky.
you tell people,
Sleep with my cousins. Ain't got no teeth.
that's not true.
Go ahead.
But you tell people stay away from like the big city, like
Yeah, that's right.
Los Angeles, New York City type girls.
Yeah, the big city girls, they think they're something, but they're really nothing. And they inflate their body parts with the best that science can offer. And while they inflate their body parts, their mind shrinks and their heart shrinks in parallel. And it will leave you with very little if you think that they're going to be a good wife or mother.
Carry on.
Are we caught up?
Yeah.
It doesn't appear that way.
Oh, sorry.
Got him.
You did. Thank you.
See, that's why we don't compliment you, because you get off.
We have Jonathan said, missed most of the stream, but had to drop something once I saw that you were live. Peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints. I appreciate that. For I am a busy individual, and I think that most people don't actually comprehend how busy. But hopefully you all get to one day experience this, because I'm busy with good things. I'm busy with things that I want to do and that I'm excited to do. So I thank you for that, Saint.
Now we're caught up.
You don't say.
You don't say.
Fantastic. The summary is that the system that I described not only protects the male from being exploited financially, it also ensures that the woman is bound to him financially. And there's nothing wrong with creating an additional bulwark or adding to the foundation of your relationship. The more things you can put into play that help you stick together, it's a good thing. So that is the conclusion of my lecture. I will allow you some time now to share your questions, thoughts, comments, or tuition as we wind down. Mike writes, I've been watching for a while. I've sent tuition before, and the photo looks familiar. And this is another small token of my appreciation. I'm 40, but I still get inspired. Peace of the saints. I appreciate that. And we should all continue to be inspired at any age. The moment you lose that spark, you lose that edge, you will not be sought after. You will not be attractive. Energy is really what separates a lot of people. Most people lack energy. And when you become sought after, you find that people are mostly coming after you to get some of that good energy you have. You have something that they don't have. They're trying to figure it out or hope some of it will rub off on them.
So Mike that just sent the super chat, he followed up. He said, I plan to get a consultation within the coming months. I'm in the last semester of my MBA at UCF.
Oh,
so that this is one of my main focuses for now. Live long, Marquett.
That is uncertain, but certainly I will live well. You dig. And I appreciate that well wish. Christian comes in by a Cash App. He writes, great Gratitude for the ism. Peace to the saints tuition. Truly appreciate that, Christian. Via PayPal, Brian Adamafio, very consistent saint, writes tuition. Truly appreciate it. Michael writes, almost left my girl for not performing oral sex. It gets like that. She had never done it before and didn't feel comfortable doing it. A lot of them say that. And some of them just ain't good at it. Like, it's rare that you find one that's not good at it, but some of them just are not good at it. It's all bad. I realized that I was actually the perverse one for thinking that the mouth is meant for sex or anything other than eating food. I then tried to get the thought out of my head, but I still crave it. My question is, what amount of sinning is okay to give yourself? Or do you think I should delete the thought from my head because I am in fact jaded and perverse? Peace of the saints. Well, it depends on what moral compass you're defining this against. I would personally not consider that sinning to want your female to give you some oral sex. But if that's against your moral compass, then you should try to abide by what is true to you. I personally don't find anything wrong with it. And I think that most females who love you will do anything you ask, even if it is perverse, which is unfortunate. But something like this is fairly basic. You've not asked her to take the R. Kelly treatment or anything outrageous. Saints, it has been truly a pleasure to have this time fellowshipping here with you. And we got new cameras, new lights, new tables, new mics, new headphones. So I appreciate all of you who try to create some level of balance by sending in tuition. It does mean a lot. It is a token. It makes me keep going. And most importantly, the members at patreon.com/the saint and the sinner, as well as all of the member sites. I really do it for you all because I know you all are serious about your education. You're serious about the movement. And that keeps me inspired and keeps me going as we seek to improve global culture. Gino writes, Mr. Burton, you are the only person that I can listen to for more than 30 minutes. Truly too much game for YouTube. Oh, indeed. And that's a good point you make, because most people who have this much game would not waste their time talking on YouTube, because here's why the world does not change. And Noam Chomsky has spoken of this several times. He says that the intelligentsia are generally disinterested in making the world a better place because by fact of them being intelligent, they can navigate and be successful in the world as it is. So they do not need to change the world, which is true. My life is great. I'm trying to help other people. There's very little benefit to me to be on here lecturing about something I already know about. I'm not listening to myself like, oh, I never heard of that, right? So I appreciate you sharing that, Saint. Fooly Cooley is back. Peace to the saints. Very loyal. I'm doing research on building a tiny home. That crossed my mind a lot too. Do you have any experience on the matter? I'm a bit over apartment life. I think that you should certainly talk to a builder, preferably in person. You should go in there very well researched. And I would first think about two things. Is it finished land or unfinished land? There are certain states that only allow finished land to be sold, which is to say, it might be appear to be just a lot of land, but the piping and the sewage is already connected. The electrical is already connected. That's really what you would want. You could also buy unfinished land, which more so would be allocated to farming and things like that. But you should look for finished land, number one. So you should talk to a builder and start talking about land, number one. And then number two, you should talk to someone who specializes in tiny homes. People go back and forth in their opinion on it, but I think it's a great thing to try out. So I would encourage you to go forward. And real estate is something that we all need practice with. So don't spend too much on your first go. And it is my will that all of the saints will have a standard of getting their first property, however small and inexpensive, by age 25. That is by the time I want you to have your first property. I realize some may have passed this age, and that's fine, but this is the standard we want to put everyone on, put our families on. Saints, let us end this the way we always end this, with our tradition. The Creed of the Assassin. Repeat after me with full conviction, knowing this is true of you. The Creed of the Assassin. I am going to be who I truly am because I am remarkable, and I am going to strive every moment to show the greatest part of who I am. Until next time, peace to the saints.